Hi YouTube. Okay, I'm going to try this again. So I just did record, and turns out that the hard drive I was recording to was doing something. I don't know, scrubbing, whatever that is. And yeah, so I had to record it again. This time I've chosen a drive, which is an SSD drive, so hopefully it doesn't get affected by anything like scrubbing. Okay, what are we doing today? So, start again. Got a Super Magicom off of eBay. Bought, not working. The reason it's not working, I've been told, is that it doesn't have a power supply to test it. Now, the Super Magicom itself doesn't require a power supply. It's powered by the Nintendo. What does it do? Well, it plugs into the Nintendo, Super Nintendo. You take a cartridge, you stick it in the top, and you can copy the cartridge into the Super Magicom's memory. Why would you want to do that? Well, it's got 16 megabits of memory, and the model is the MS3201. I don't know what it means, but there you go. So, why would you want to copy it into the memory? Well, the reason is that it also has this connector on the back, which goes to an external drive, and this is, when it had the lid on, just sort of goes like that and just looks like an external drive. And what kind of drive is it? Well, it's just a IBM standard 1.44 megabit floppy drive, like you would get in a PC. But this is the thing that's broken. So this is not what the seller said, but he just said it can't test it, don't have a power supply. Well, if he did try to test it, if he did have a power supply, he would have found out that this is actually broken. Now, the drive itself is probably fine. That I haven't tested yet because I'm not able to yet. But what I found out is, just from inspection, I can see the problem. The problem looks to be a voltage regulator on the back. Looks like it's cracked. So we can zoom in on that because this camera's got a zoom. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to position this in the middle. Then I'm going to press the zoom button. What does that say? Not while auto-focusing. Okay, let's turn off the autofocus. Is it this one? And try again. So that's not autofocus, that's stability. Let's try a different switch. That one. Right. Actually not in the current shooting mode. Okay. Oh, I don't know. What about this one? Now? Yes, there we go. So about there. No, up a bit. Now the problem I have is I am about 3 seconds behind the actual video. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus the camera. Where's the focus ring? There it is. Oh, nearly. Gosh, that was nearly straight on then, wasn't it? And because I'm like 3 seconds behind, I don't... there we go. Look at that. Brilliant. Oh, just about perfect. Okay, so let's zoom in one more time. Oh, look at that. Oh, no, I've zoomed right out. Okay, try again. 1, 2, 3. Go on. Yes. Okay, so if I can hold that in position, what can I point with? What have I got? I've got my solder sucker. Let's point with my solder sucker. So the part that's broken is this part here, and this part here is it is a voltage regulator, and I think that gives it the 5 volts. I'm not sure yet because I can't see what the number is on there, because the number can sort of make out a little bit. It says 5, probably 7805, I would hope. Probably. Could be a 7805. It probably is, which is a 5 volt regulator. Okay. And then it's using this back plate, which is plastic. Is it plastic? I don't know. No, it is metal. I was going to say it's using the back plate as a heatsink. It's covered in paint, so it makes it look like plastic. Okay, so there you go. So what do I need to do? Well, so I've already put I've already stuck a voltmeter on there. And sure enough, there's no volts coming out to these connectors here. So whatever the reason is, it's not putting the power through. Now there's some kind of, looks like a relay right next to this. So I'm imagining that when there's enough power, the relay then trips, which then provides power. Either that, or possibly something from the Super Nintendo trips the relay. Let's see if we can actually see what's going on with the actual circuit itself. So, yeah, it's coming off the 5 volts there. What else is it doing? So the relay to there's a capacitor just to, I guess, smooth it out. Something on that side, just nothing, it's just holes. Okay. That's coming down to this main rail. I think this must be the negative rail. So you've got the negative connected on one side of the relay, and on the positive it's coming from here for a diode. I don't know. I think that's all it is. I think it's just simply that when there's enough power it trips it on. But anyway, first thing to do, replace the 7805. Let's see if that fixes it. Okay, so I couldn't find the same chip as this. So turns out it's not a 7805 as such. It's a 78005 AP. That's what those numbers were. And the reason I could see that is because the whole of the chip has just come away. So let's unscrew it. And so I've got I think an equivalent. It's a 7805 and it looks to be about the same size. So all we need to do is slip this one out, slip that one in. It looks like it's a pin equivalent looking at the data sheet that I can find. Unfortunately, the data sheet, it's in Chinese. So this is obviously some kind of Chinesian knockoff. And because of that, it's a bit more difficult to find information about. All of the information's in Chinese. It's like I can get my camera out and do a Google Translate, but I'm going with it's probably just a copy. It looks the same. So that's, yeah. So the input is positive. The output. So let's see. Yeah, that's the right side. So the input. Hang on a second. So the output goes to the red line. Yeah. So the red line is 5 volts. Yeah. So there you go. So the output's 5 volts. The input must be the 12 volts, which is coming through here, and the center is ground. What's the worst that can happen? Anyway, let's zoom in then. So is this going to work? So what am I doing? I am removing. Oh, of course, the camera's on the side of me, so that's why it looks funny. Okay, here we go. So I'm removing this bit here. Oh, hang on. I'm removing this bit here and replacing it with this chip here, and it should just be a direct pin replacement. So, same as I did before, I will use my solder sucker and a bit of solder, and I'm going to use my lamp, and hopefully it's not going to be too bright for the camera, but I think the camera just adjusts. So I've got my soldering iron, I've got my solder. Let's do some soldering. So what I'm going to do is what I always do, which is to take something off, I first pretend I'm putting it on, which is I add some solder, which will then mix with the old stuff and make it a bit wetter. Is that the word? Now, it might be, because these are so close together, I might be able to just coax them out. I think I might have already done that. Look at that. I think it's just falling through. So, yep, there it goes. Well, there's part of it. If the ouch. If oh god, come here. Yeah, so there's part of it. So that's so one of the pins. Now where's the rest of it? Is it still connected? It's still there. And it's really, really hot. So this is the thing about the what these chips are designed to do. It's got a plate on the back to transfer the heat. So you know, it's meant to be a good conductor of heat. And sure enough, that's what it is. Oh, there we go, there's one. And get the second leg, come on. The other leg doesn't want to budge for some reason. Right, well, I'm just going to keep pulling in this way, so that's that one out. I think. And then I just need to push the other way to get the other leg out. Why won't that other leg come out? It is... right, I don't think the middle leg's actually connected. I think it's snapped off. I'm trying to angle this so you can see. There we go. I don't think the middle leg... This 3-second delay is so irritating. Right, let's move to there. So I don't think the middle one is actually connected to the chip anymore. But this one is. So I'm just going to move that one. Oh, another piece of plastic came off. Yeah, it's really strange. It's like it's still connected or still coming through the board, but there's no pins. This is very strange. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold it so I don't burn my fingers with some pliers, and then push away while let's see if we can get it in the camera. There we go, just about. So push away while I'm just warming up the solder. So this one, the leg is gone on this one, I think. So then let's try this one. Nothing, nothing. Must be this middle one. But there's nothing. It's really... Oh, there we go, something moved. I think... Is the pin bent over? Is that the problem? Let's have a look on the camera. So I see what you see. You'd be a few seconds behind. I don't see any pins connected, but it's still stuck. So how is it stuck if there's no pins connected? Well, isn't that strange? Okay. How awkward is this? Definitely moving the right ones. In the right, yep, it's completely the right position. So let's show you what's going on. So this is the regulator that I'm trying to remove, and for some reason the pins are still jammed in there, even though I've desoldered them from the bottom. They've somehow become stuck. And what I think is going on is possibly that the pin is bent over, but just such in a fine way that I can't actually see it bent over. So I'm just going to have to use a bit of brute force, I think, to remove this, because it ain't going anywhere. So brute force, ignorance, perfect combination, and then hopefully that will do it. So let's see, where's the magnifier? Around here somewhere, around here, around here. It keeps moving. Wait a minute, where am I? Okay, not there, not there. Oh my god, right. You come here. The whole board is coming off through the strength of this last pin. Right, there's definitely no pin there, that's melted. Oh, there we go. Huh. There we go. So, let's get it in the camera so you can see this. This was the negative rail, and it was proper jammed in, so I think it must have been bent at the end, just ever so slightly, enough so it was gripping the board. One of the screws just come off there. Yeah, just enough that it was gripping the board. And there's still one more in there. Oh my god. Let's see if I can just do this one with my hand. Yeah. Come on. Yeah, it's just very odd that it's like there's no solder left. Let's have a zoom there. There's no solder left on there. You know, but it's just stuck. It's not the middle one because I just pulled that one out. It's not the end one because that was the first one to come out. Oh, here's the end one. Oh my god. It was the end one. There you go. So there we go. All 3 pins now of the chip. I didn't break it. It was already broke. And now where's the new one? So here's the new one. It looks like to be pretty much an identical size. So all we've got to do, fix that focus a bit. So all we've got to do is put the new one in. How hard can that be? Well, if I make it out to be as hard as getting it out, let's see. So now I know that area there is where the camera's looking. This is where I can do it. So we can see the holes, and at the moment the holes are blocked up with solder, so we don't want that. We want these holes to be empty of solder. We can use a solder sucker for that. So let's do that. And the way that we can do that is all we have to do is warm it up, just warm it up, and then suck the solder out. So just make the solder shiny, suck it out, just so the holes are free of solder, so we can drop that new component in. Look good? This last one doesn't look very good. Let's try and warm it right in there. There we go. So, I might move that camera because you can't always see what I'm doing. Okay, so about there, I think. Yeah. So now we can see that the holes are go all the way through, so we can just drop the component in, the 5-volt regulator. So let's do that, and then it should just solder in place. There we go. So that just drops in, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to bolt it in place using the screw that came with it. Try not to block everything like I normally do. So using the screw that came with it, and see what I'm trying to do is show you guys what I'm doing and at the same time fight with this camera, which is constantly 3 seconds behind, and at the same time try and let you see what I'm doing. Oh god, will you just go in? Right. There we go. So, I can use pliers to make sure it's nice and firm in there. Oh god. Why won't you just grip? Right. Grip that thing. There we go. Gripped, screwed, tight as it's going to get. Right. Okay, so next, solder it in. So those pins, they're sticking right out, so we're going to have to use clippers on them. And I don't know where my bloody clippers are. Never find anything. Anyway, let's just get this back together. So we just need a bit of solder on each of these, just to get this back together. And what we don't want is too much solder where the pins start touching. This is what happens when you don't use your magnifying glass. You can't really see what's going on. And I haven't got my special soldering glasses on. So I think there's too much solder there. So I'm just going to loosen it up and take some off. There we go. So I just took a little bit off, and then just make sure it goes on. There we go. So what you really need to do is warm up the pins, not the board. So does that look okay? I think that looks okay. Now what I am going to do is I'm going to bring my big lens down so I can see what's going on, and check that none of that is touching, and it looks to be okay. Maybe I've damaged that 5 volts line, so better check that and see if it's still got continuity. I can do that with a, oh, it's gone dark now, isn't it? Let's light it up again. There we go. So continuity meter. So does it beep? Does it beep? It doesn't beep. This is not a beepy one, so it's not a very expensive one, this thing. It's just a continuity diode checker. So this is the 5 volt line here, so we just want to check that if this pin is yep, and to ground we've got nothing, and to the input we've got a resistance, which is what we're after. Good. But to the input and the 12 volt should be no. Maybe it's a diode checker. Yeah, let's try this side. Huh, isn't that interesting? So I think that relay, once it hits 12 volts, then sends the voltage down to the 5 volts. So it must snap the power in once it hits 12 volts, which is interesting, because why would you need to snap the power in unless you don't want 5 volts until you reach 12 volts? Maybe you need 12 and 5 at the same time. That's probably what it's doing. Okay. So we need to snip the top of those things off. Now, I've got some clippers somewhere. Okay, so I found some clippers. These are toenail clippers, but they'll do. Because if they can cut through my toenails, they can cut through metal, he says. So, there we go. Just about. Just want to really flush. Would be better to use my proper things, but I don't know where they are. I've obviously been using them somewhere, and I cannot remember where. Okay, that looks okay. Okay, looks good, looks good. Just tied up that last pin. Can't see what I'm doing, of course. There we go. Right. So, I have a power supply here. I have a power supply, so we can use this to power this thing up. Now, turn off my voltmeter. So I say we can use this to power it up. I just had an idea. Just sitting here having an idea. Will my voltmeter things stick into the power supply holes? No. Okay. Right, I'm going to have to use a bit of wire then, aren't I? Okay, so a bit of wire. Voltmeter thing would have been nice. Actually, no. I have a 12 volt power supply, so I'm going to go grab that. So, I have here a 12 volt power supply. I'm going to plug in my voltmeter. Okay, let's zoom out. So, there we go. Okay, so that's replaced the 5 volt regulator. So it's probably working now. So the only way to find out is to power it up. Now, I've got a universal 12 volt power supply here. if I put the positive on the inside and the negative on the outside, and I change this to 20 volts, it says 13.4, but it's not under load. Okay, so that's my 12 volts and it's positive, which is good, because looking at this, the center pin is going to the where is the center pin going? Where is the center pin? The center pin's going to there, which is the center pin negative. Oh, I love it when they do that. Right, let's just see that. So that's the center pin there. Which one's center? Huh. Well, that was about to be a mistake then, wasn't it? Lucky we checked. So the center pin is going to the what appears to be the ground rail. Yeah. And then this pin, which is the one that I believe is the 12 volts, that's the outer pin. Where's my magnifying glass? Let's zoom it right in here. Let's not make a mistake. So, center pin has a huge track on it. The outer pin has a tiny, tiny track and goes to there, which is what component? So it goes to a capacitor, goes to, is that the negative of the capacitor? And that's the positive. That's the negative. That's the negative. No. Okay, so that's saying that side is the positive side. So the center pin is the negative then. Okay, right. I'm going with that. Center pin is the negative. So these little things, what you can do is you can take it out, flip it round, and then that then makes the center negative. So let's just check that it is. So if I put this on it this way round, we get 13 volts. Hang on. Does this only show? Well, that shows minus. Oh, maybe it was the right way round. Yeah, let's try that again. The mistakes that can be made, eh? I'll probably end up blowing this thing up. Right, let's try again. Let's try again. So, maybe this is how the thing blew up in the first place. Right. Yes. The center is now negative. Right. Excellent. So if I plug this in, shall I unplug the power supply from here and unplug the data line as well? Okay. So if I plug this in, what should happen is it shouldn't blow up, and we shouldn't get any snapping capacitors or anything like that. What should happen is it should work fine. He says. Let's try it. Okay. No snapping capacitors yet. Let's see what we've got. So if we touch these two, we get 12 volts, which is what we expected. Now if we come here and here, we don't get anything. We come here and here, we don't get anything. I think this relay has to kick in to turn the thing on. If we come to here, we should get 5 volts. But there's nothing. Come to here and here. Oh, right, no, that's right. So something's not right. Let's take that off. Right, it's not getting warm. Let's add some light in here. It's not getting warm, but something's not right. So this is that should be the 5 volt line. Okay, let's try that again. And this time I'm going to use this as the negative. Nothing. Nothing? Nothing. Okay. So then there should be, which is pin 1. this should be... These are both the negatives. Nothing, 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 nothing. I think this relay just shuts everything down. Right, it's 100%, there's 13 volts coming through there. And this looks to be the ground line. But yeah, absolutely nothing comes through to here. What about through to the relay? Ah, yes. So there's 13 volts coming through to the relay. And nothing on the other side of the relay. So I think what's going to happen is that the Nintendo, when it's plugged in, will send, will trigger the relay, which then in turn will then turn on the rest of the circuit. Yeah. So I mean, there's nothing in here. It's not. There's no electronics in here. It's just a regulator, a relay, a diode, and a couple of capacitors. There's nothing here. So this is all it appears to be. So I suppose to make sure it's working then is to plug it in. Okay then. So again, the microphone's on the other side of the room, so I'm going to have to shout a little bit. Moment of truth. So how do we do this? File, insert disk. It's found the Addams family. Let's click load. So it's loading. We've got looks like a countdown. I'm guessing this is the bytes that it's copying from the disk. The disk is spinning. I would say that's a success. The disk is spinning. It's read the disk. It's copying the data. It says that it's Addams family. So I'd say this is a win. Let's see what happens. So yeah, 60. It's going well so far. And that's all I had to do was change that 7805 IC, which is just a 5 volt regulator. It takes 12 volts on the main line, and I just got a power supply from Argos. I think it was less than a fiver, which is one of those multi-mode power supplies where you can choose the polarity and voltage. And it says Addams family, licensed by Nintendo, looks legit, English. Yep, start button works. We've got sound. And what do you reckon? Working? I'd say so. This looks absolutely fine. Let's go straight into a game and see if it works. And this is running straight off the memory of the... how do you get that up there? Straight off the memory of the what's it called? The Magicom. So, oh, okay, these things are good. You can jump on that. You can jump on that. I've never played Addams Family. I've got it, but I've never played it. I'm interested to know what the money thing is. Oh, hang on, we managed to get on there. Ah, there we go. That's as high as we can go, though, is it? Here. Okay, and here. Yes. So I've got one of them. There you go. Whatever that does. I've got one money. Anyway, there you go. Thanks very much, and goodbye.